Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you Warren Buffett's current portfolio and all the purchases and sales that he's made recently. This is from the SEC 13F filing of Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett's company. It was published on August 15, so this is some of the most recent information that we have on Warren Buffett and his portfolio. In quarter 2, which is the period of April, May, and June of 2020, he completely sold out of all of his airline positions. This includes the positions he had in Delta Airlines, American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, and United Airlines. He sold out completely of his Occidental, Petroleum, Goldman Sachs, and also Restaurant Brands International positions. Throughout quarter 2 of 2020, he sold around $13 billion worth of stock, and he only bought around $1 billion of stock. There's also more purchases and sales that I will also get into. But what can we learn from these sales that I already mentioned? Travel will eventually go back to normal, hopefully in the period of 2021, 2022, or 2023. But by Buffett selling out of 100% of his airline stocks, and since he's a long-term investor, it shows us that the returns that Buffett thinks that these airline companies will generate is not sufficient enough for him. It shows us that he doesn't believe in the airline industry and he'd rather use this money for other opportunities. From the SEC reports, we can also see that Buffett has mixed feelings about financials. He sold out around 100% of his Goldman Sachs position. He sold around 62% of his JP Morgan position, 41% of his PNC Financial position, 26% of his Wells Fargo position, 15% of M&T Bank, 9% of Bank of New York Mellon, around 5% in Visa, and around 7% in Mastercard. Although these percentages don't tell us very much, so it's actually more important to look at the dollar values. Buffett sold around $3.5 billion worth of his JP Morgan position, which is a huge amount. His whole Goldman Sachs position was around $400 million. He sold around $2 billion from his Wells Fargo position. And his airline positions, he sold around $4 to $5 billion from all of his airlines. And the reason why I say he has mixed feelings about these financial companies is because it was revealed from another SEC report that from the period of around July 20th to around August 4th, Buffett was buying around $2.1 billion of Bank of America stock. So from this we can see that it's not all bad for financial companies. Overall, his selling was a lot more than he was buying, but he was still buying a large portion of Bank of America stock. If you do believe in the long-term value investing principles of Warren Buffett and you do want to invest in a financial company, Bank of America may be the one based on Warren Buffett's recent purchases. In Warren Buffett's portfolio, he has around 38 different holdings. Only 12 of them are really relevant, and I say this because there are only 12 positions in this whole portfolio that have a percentage of above 1% of the total portfolio. And as we can see, Apple is around 48% of Warren Buffett's total portfolio. Bank of America, after these recent purchases that I mentioned, is now 12%. Coca-Cola is around 8%. American Express is around 6%. Although Buffett did a lot of selling in financial companies, he still has a large portion of his portfolio in financial companies. Buffett also made some rather interesting purchases as well. He did make a purchase in Store Capital, and Store Capital is a real estate investment trust. So they own and rent out single tenant properties. What this means is that they own the properties and they rent it out to various businesses that are medium or large size. They have over 400 tenants throughout the US. No tenant is more than 3% of their rent. They have around 99% occupancy in all of their properties. And just to give you guys an idea on their current situation, they have around 86% of rent collection in August. So even with the pandemic, they are still doing relatively well. From the recent 13F, we do know that Buffett added around 100 to 150 million in his position in Store Capital. And since this is from the period of April to June, the price that he could have bought at could be in the range of anywhere from $14 to $23 per share. To me, when I saw this, I was very excited because I also own Store Capital in my portfolio. So if you are a new investor, it is a really good idea to go into these 13F filings of various investors and look at what they're buying and potentially do the same thing. That's what I did for my position in Store Capital. And if you guys do want, I can definitely make this into a continuous series where I go through Warren Buffett's portfolio on a regular basis. I can also do the same for a bunch of other great investors. So enough about Store Capital. Warren Buffett also added around 50 million into his Kroger position. Kroger is a supermarket retailer in the US and they are one of the biggest. Buffett actually made his first purchase of Kroger in quarter 4 of 2019 in a price range of around $24 to $28 per share. And he added another 15% in April, May, June of 2020 at a price anywhere from $30 to $33 per share. The current price of Kroger is above this, so that's just something to know if you guys were interested in adding Kroger into your portfolio. Buffett also made a purchase into Suncor Energy, which is a Canadian energy company. He added around $70 million into his $300 million position. It is interesting to note that he sold out completely of his Occidental Petroleum position, and this was around $260 million. It was also recently discovered that Berkshire Hathaway put in around $10 billion to buy the natural gas pipelines from Dominion Energy. So we know that Buffett has bought Suncor Energy, he's sold out of Occidental Petroleum, and Berkshire Hathaway has put around $10 billion into natural gas pipelines. So from this we can see that Buffett is bullish on the energy sector, specifically in the natural gas sector. Another purchase was Buffett's purchase into Liberty Media. And if I'm being quite honest, Liberty Media is one of the most confusing companies that I've ever seen listed on the stock market. They have around 6 different listed shares, and each one of them represent different things based on the companies they own. They own Formula One, they own the Atlanta Braves, and they also own Sirius XM, which is a broadcasting company that provides online and satellite radio. Buffett bought around 200 million of LSXMK, which is Liberty Media's Series C share. This stock is a holding company of Liberty Media that actually owns around 70% of Sirius XM, and Sirius XM is the radio company that I mentioned. He bought around 200 million more shares in this holding company. However, in his portfolio, Buffett also has just the shares of Sirius XM, which trade on a different ticker symbol called Siri. And the confusing thing is, at the same time, Buffett sold around 62% of his holding in Siri, which is around 480 million. So he bought 200 million in this holding company that owns Sirius XM. Then he sold directly around 480 million shares in the individual company Sirius XM. And because he has sold more than he has bought in this company, it doesn't give us a completely clear picture into whether he believes in the long-term potential of this company. And the last interesting purchase that Buffett has made in this period is that Buffett has bought into Barrick Gold Corporation. Buffett's total position in Barrick Gold was around $606 million, which is quite a substantial position. However, remember that his total portfolio is worth around 240 billion, so 600 million out of 240 billion is not a lot. And this is very interesting because Buffett and Munger, historically, they have said that they don't like investing in gold because it is a non-productive asset. That just means that it doesn't produce anything. And over a long period of time, like 100 years, for example, gold won't actually produce anything, but investing in a business or a farm, for example, would actually produce something. So that's why Buffett rather invests in productive assets rather than non-productive assets. On the surface, it does look like he is buying gold, but however, if you dig a bit deeper, he is actually buying a gold mining company, and this is a significant difference. If you were to buy gold currently today, you could buy it at around $2,000 per ounce. If gold goes to around $3,000 per ounce, you would profit only around $1,000 per ounce. However, if you buy a gold mining company and they can produce this gold at around $1,000 per ounce and then eventually sell it at around $3,000 per ounce, there's a lot more profit involved in the gold mining company than just buying gold individually. Looking at Barrick's annual report, we can see that their cost of sale for an ounce of gold is anywhere in the range from $900 to $1,000. This means that in order for them to mine and then sell their gold, it costs them around $1,000 per ounce of gold. And with the current high prices of gold in the range from around $1,900 to $2,000, this is very profitable for the company. With the fears of inflation and the Fed printing a lot of money, it is very possible that gold could stay at these elevated prices for a while. If you are looking to invest in gold, it might be smart to be doing something like what Buffett has done and to buy into a gold mining company instead of actually buying gold itself. That is all the buys and sells that Warren Buffett has made in quarter 2 of 2020. There's a lot of interesting information and a lot of potential investment opportunities that we can see from his recent purchases and sales. As always, I will leave all the research and all the different websites that I've used to find this information in the description so you guys can check that out. And if you do want me to make more videos like this where I look at successful investors and I track their portfolio over time so that you guys can potentially get good investment ideas, do let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time.